Now, let's take a look at scenarios, specifically branching scenarios. We're going to go through it relatively quickly just so you can get the gist of what it is. So, for this particular scenario, we were talking about when we're facilitating, how do we engage people who are having side conversations all the time? So, with this particular case, following the first several activities on the first day of a 3-day workshop, you notice that most participants have been focused and willing to participate in a variety of activities, and most participants are listening. They're making eye contact, they're nodding their heads during moments in which you make a presentation or deliver a short lecture. As you approach your morning break, you have noticed, however, that two participants at your table to your right seem to have spent more time whispering and talking to each other than they have been participating in actual activities. So if this was a case study, you might end it here and say, okay, so as a facilitator, what might you do? And then you can have some conversation. That's fine. For this particular situation, what we did was we gave people three choices. Okay, so this is a setup, and now we have three choices. So the first thing you can do is you can keep an eye on the situation and see if the behavior continues, but for the moment, we don't need to address this quite yet. Maybe that's one way you want to go. Or maybe before the break, you decide to just make a general comment to everybody about being respectful and staying focused on the activities and discussions in the workshop. So, kind of a big picture announcement. Hopefully, it lands to those specific people who have been having some side conversations. Or during the break, you notice that one of the participants has been having side conversations. They're sitting at the table. So you decide to say something to this participant. So here, instead of kind of stopping and leaving it open-ended, what would you do here? We have some different choices here. Now, it may not be the exact thing that everybody would choose, but let's have some choices. So for the fun, for the sake of it, I'm going to throw it back to Tim to put up a poll here. We can take a poll and just real quick, with your gut, what would you do in this situation? I'll give you a few moments here to respond to this. Let's go ahead and publish that poll, share the results. So it looks like most people in this particular room, about more than half people have said before the break, you decide to make a general comment, right? So that's what we'll do. Based on what this group wants to do, we're going to go with choice B here. So with this, we'll advance to this is kind of the impact of the situation, right? We make a general announcement. And there are consequences to that choice, or there's going to be a reaction to that choice. So the room goes quiet as you deliver your reminder about staying focused and respecting the learning environment. And for a few minutes, the two participants in question stop talking and look directly at their workbooks. However, because the feedback was directed at everyone, the participants who were following the rules looked confused or slightly defensive, while the two offenders seemed to assume you were talking about someone else. This happens to me all the time. When a general announcement is made and I haven't been doing anything that I think is against the rules, and somebody makes that announcement, I'm like, oh my God, what was I doing? What was it me? Are they thinking about me? I know I did glance at my phone once, right? So that's what's happening here. So within 20 minutes, as the next small group activity begins, they're back to whispering, seemingly emboldened by the fact that you didn't address them directly. All right, so this is something where in a case study you would have just stopped. What would you have done? We don't know what the consequences would have been. Here we're seeing kind of a cascading effect of different things, and then we come up with some different choices. We can do some different things, and we have some more choices. I'm not going to go through this whole scenario because we did this last month. I just wanted to give you an example of what this looked like. So maybe we decide to physically restructure. Okay, they're still at it, so maybe we're going to physically restructure the environment by announcing a scramble after the next break, and then there's some results. Now, here's the thing about a branching scenario. We can end it here and say, okay, how did that work out? What would you have done differently? We can also choose to go back to the beginning and let's try it again. It didn't give us the results we wanted. How can we do something different next time? So let's take a look at those choices again. Maybe instead of B, maybe we want to do C this time, right? So that's the nice thing about a branching scenario is that you can spend 15 minutes talking about it. You can spend an hour talking about it. It really depends on how much time you have and how correct you want them to get the answers. The other thing to branching scenarios is oftentimes there's not one obvious right answer or wrong answer because it's like real life, right? So there's some different ways to go. So again, we kind of go through this. and we could do it again and again, or we can just kind of say, all right, that was a great conversation.